Hey guys, welcome back to my show. Today, yet again, we have a special guest with us today. Some of you may already know him from his piano pieces, and if not, this is Carter Bryan. Hey Carter, how are you today?
Hey, Annika, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, so please introduce yourself and maybe talk about your music career.
Yeah, I'm a pianist. I'm a composer. Um, I kind of play and compose on all different styles. Um, I'm just I feel like I'm dipping my feet into this music world, but I love classical music. I love jazz music. I'm a jazz major actually at Manhattan School of Music right now, and but yeah, I'm here creating and trying new things at the piano. And I've been playing piano for pretty much my whole life since I was around 3 years old. I was lucky enough to grow up in a musical family. So, so it was introduced pretty early on, and I was able to find my passion pretty early. But yeah, I enjoy performing, composing, writing for films, which I haven't done any major films yet, but that's something I would love to do in the future. And yeah, creating. That's what I
Yeah,
love to do.
that's awesome. I mean, I think that's cool. Like, it's pretty cool how you started so young because I know, like, with music, it kind of like grows throughout the years. And starting that young allows you to build foundations that when you are older, you can automatically start what you want to do rather than learn it and then start.
Yes, I was very lucky to start early on, and I'm very grateful for that every day. But yeah, that's definitely helped with
Yeah.
that.
So, what's the definition of creativity?
So that's a great question. I actually just started reading a book called The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. This is it right here. Um, but creative, I think everyone everyone is a creator and has the capacity to create, even the people who don't make traditional art. And this is kind of the idea that Rick Rubin has as well, which I was very moved by. um, I mean, we all create on a daily basis, whether it's like rearranging your room, cooking, or just having a really nice conversation like we are. We're bringing something new into existence that wasn't there before. So that can be in the traditional arts, like painting and music and interior design, even everything. I feel like creativity is the ability to just bring something new into the world and inspire people, or doesn't even have to be shown to anyone. It can be for yourself. It doesn't have to be a public thing. Um, yeah, but bringing something new into the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I love that interpretation, right? Because creativity goes beyond just doing something creative, quote unquote, right? Because as you said, like creative could just be cooking, or it could be writing something, or it could be just talking to someone, right? Because the way you kind of put yourself together and show yourself to the world is kind of a creative journey in itself.
Yeah, everything. And like the world is creating stuff. There's trees growing and it's like um yeah, I find creativity everywhere, especially recently I've been um trying to see the world differently in that way. But yeah, I think everyone's a creator and everyone can create, even if they don't call themselves an artist.
Of course, like, there are a lot of like stereotypes surrounding musicians. So what's like one of the stereotypes that you feel like you're breaking through your work?
Mm, stereotypes. I think, oh, something people talk about is different genres a lot. And I feel like sometimes that can be limiting because, well, it's great to have different styles of music if you want a style for something. Maybe you're like, oh, let's put on classical music. Oh, let's put on jazz music. It's a certain style so we can categorize because it's easy to categorize. But if you're able to, I think as musicians, once we're able to ignore ignore styles as being boundaries, but as being suggestions, and then taking different styles and putting it all into your own music, that's when you can create the new stuff. Like I love jazz. That's one of my favorite things to do. Like I love improvisation. I love how it all works. But I also grew up playing a lot of classical. So when I when I decided to create my first album, EP, Metamorphoses, um, I started writing and I told myself, okay, we're not going to do a specific style. We're just going to write whatever comes to mind and whatever happens happens. And that's kind of what that excursion was for me. Since I was doing so much jazz for the past few years, it was great to do something new. It was more of a combination of, it's like a neoclassical crossover with jazz with almost some pop elements too. So it's definitely all over the spectrum. So I think it's definitely great if you're able to combine things that people have done in the past to create your own thing. But it's also cool to stay in a genre too, but this is what I love to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the good thing that you just brought up was that, again, creativity has no boundaries. Like even with my own music that I try to create, I try not to like be like, oh, I'm trying to create only pop or only rock, because then it's like you are not allowed to experiment or like try new things, and you're stuck within this box, which should not be even present in your art. Because with that box being that you feel very contained or like you feel blocked from exploring out of box ideas.
Yeah, especially being a jazz major, I sometimes feel like, oh, I would feel that jazz is like all I should do, and I should put all my focus right there because I mean I'm going to college for it. But then I took a step back earlier this past semester, my freshman year, first semester actually, and realized I'm studying jazz, but I can take what I'm learning here, put it wherever I want. So that's one of the main things that I would say for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like with music, I know you kind of mentioned like, you went for school for it. How did you know like this was your calling? Like how did you know that this is what you want to do in college?
Yeah, well, I was very lucky to have been raised in a musical family. I know not everyone has that, but I just I essentially imagined myself doing something else and giving up piano, and then I couldn't imagine it. It's like the piano is my office. It's not a computer. It's nothing else. It's the piano is where I feel the most alive. And if yeah, I mean, I could always do something on the side and then do piano, but I fell in love with the idea of at first at least putting my everything into piano for as long as I can. So yeah, that's pretty much how I found my calling is it's because I I can't see myself doing anything else and I love it so much. So
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with any creative aspect of life, right, whether it be music or painting or whatever, I feel like it often just pretty much lives inside of you. And so when it lives inside of you, it's hard to kind of evict it out of your brain or evict it out of your body because it's just pretty much existent and you can't really remove it without feeling like you're removing a large part of yourself.
yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, so do you think kind of like, do you think the music lives in you or do you think you live in music?
Wow. That's a great question. Both. I think we coexist. Um, I mean, sometimes, yeah, yeah. We we live together.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, like the concept of time kind of plays into it too. Like you can kind of see, like I recently asked a question where we were like, do we live in time or does time live in us? So,
mm, yeah. Does time live in us? I'd say, yeah, wow. I've never thought about this before. Yeah, I definitely think the music, it is in me, but yeah, yeah. I actually don't know.
And so, like, even moving forward, like, with like, we always say, like, oh, you're born this way, you were born to create. Do you believe in that, or do you think art grows over time and builds as you grow up?
Wow. It I think, like I was saying though, I think everybody has the capacity to create. It's just a matter of whether or not you can take the time to actually this kind of leads to my process of creating. Um when I'm like I need to not be in a stimulating environment. I need to be in silence and let my brain kind of work through things without maybe social media, other factors influencing me. I need to be in a space of kind of like a Zen meditative space, but I know a lot of people don't get to that space, and I think when you're able to, that's when the best work comes out. But in terms of if we're talking about natural talent, maybe that plays into it. But I do think anyone has a capacity to do whatever they want when they're creating. Yeah, rearranging your room. I think anyone can become an expert rearranger. Anyone can be. Things will come differently to other people though, and I do understand that. But yeah, I think anyone can do anything they put their mind to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much how it works, right? I mean, every person has their own process of working through things. Like, you might prefer like a quiet environment because you're doing piano, right? But then
Hmm.
someone who's a singer-songwriter prefers like the music because there's other aspects to it involving them singing. So when it comes to like, do you ever like kind of dabble in like music in terms of like singing and things, or do you prefer just the piano?
I love learning other instruments, actually. It's funny you mentioned that. I love, I'm not great, but I love playing trumpet and drums and a little saxophone and trying new things. I do sing too, and I think learning other instruments actually can really help you on the instrument, on your main instrument, because you're seeing another side of music. It's like learning a new language if you want to become a good speaker, because when you understand how other languages work, it's they all help each other and yeah, and like learning an instrument, the next language you learn is going to get easier and easier and easier. It's the same with music, in my opinion. But
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I think especially with like acoustic instruments, specifically like, with piano, guitar, I feel like they usually have the same components except one is strings and one are like keys. But even then they're like, once you know piano, it's somewhat easier to find the notes on a guitar when you know how they sound.
Yes, I love saying that the piano key, I'm sorry, the piano is the answer key to music because you have it all laid out in front, at least Western music with 12 notes, but because you have it all laid out in front of you and you can see all the shapes, all the colors, and well, it's only two colors, but you can see all the colors of sound that you can get out of the piano. But it's, yeah, I think the piano is like, it's the answer key. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of shifting gears, like this is kind of like a fun question, but if you were an instrument, what instrument do you think you would be and why?
If I were an instrument, hmm. Well, from a young age, I always liked the drums, and I feel like I would be. I don't know, maybe drums, but um, I mean, piano is the obvious answer to me, but now makes me think. Um, I mean, probably not the answer you're looking for, but the voice would be an instrument. But like we are already our voices, but um, yeah.
I mean, honestly, the
um,
voice is like a great answer though, right? Because your voice actually probably is your biggest instrument.
yeah, I use it the most out of all of them. Um, yeah, and I mean, it's the instrument that we were born with. Like birds, they're born with their, I don't know if it's voices, but the bird calls that they have. Um, yeah, yeah, I'd say the voice, but um, since I also feel like I'm one with the piano right now, like we're we're basic we coexist. Like I was saying, piano would also be a, a contender.
Yeah. So my kind of last and final question for you is what advice would you give to fellow musicians out there?
Hmm. Don't feel like you have to know where you're going at all times. Um, when I was little, I wanted to be a classical pianist, and then I discovered jazz, and then I wanted to be a jazz pianist, and then I wanted to be I wanted to be a dermatologist earlier in high school because other things pop up. But then I fell in love with music again, and now I'm studying jazz, but now I really want to be a film scorer, and I just released an album, and I'm just kind of trying everything. And I think, well, obviously I'm not in the point in my career where I've figured out what I want to do, but I think you're always figuring it out, and you'll never have it figured out. So I'm telling myself that now, so I don't think that I'm behind later. Because I mean, yeah, just try new things, keep that childlike mentality with everything you're doing. Um, you know the feeling when you first pick up a paintbrush when you're little and you're like, oh, this is so cool. Or when you play your instrument for the first time, it's magical. Never let that go away. That's what I would say. And then sometimes people talk about burnout and stuff too. I'm still working on this myself, but I think a lot of our problems as musicians relating to burnout is just mismatched energy. And I think if we're able to recognize when our mind is, well, for me, like when my mind is empty, I read and I absorb information or listen to music. If my mind is loud, then I like to get my ideas out. And if my mind's racing, I like to go exercise, go on a run or a walk. And when my mind is sharp, that's when I like to create. And it's not, um, yeah, yeah, that's that's pretty much what I think of when I think of dealing with burnout, which is something that a lot of creatives have to deal with. But it's just something you have to navigate. It's different from person to person. Um, but do what you love and not what other people want you to do. Create what you want and think about, if I don't become, because a lot of people think, for a lot of people, money and fame is a motivator. Like, oh, they want to reach a certain point where they can maybe sustain themselves and have luxuries with, as sometimes unrealistic as it is. But you want to think about, if I was the last person on earth, would I still be doing this? And if the answer is yes, then you love what you're doing, and that's great, and you should keep doing it. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the answer.
Yeah, I love the last bit too, like especially the question, asking the question like, would you be happy doing what you're doing if you're the last person? Or it's like, I feel like that's a question we don't ask ourselves often because no one really tells us to. But I think sometimes you just have to ask yourself these questions because there's no one
Yeah.
else who's gonna do that for you. And I think also the part that you talk about with like burnout, burnout's like such a common thing. It's a like I mean, I wouldn't call it negative or bad in a way because sometimes the burnout is just what you need to kind of get through it and like get through your emotions.
Yes,
And we don't
absolutely.
like to think of it that way because in the moment it's like, oh my God, why is this happening? And it feels like everything is lost. But then once you
Yeah.
get through, it's like, yeah, okay, I see the light through the tunnel.
Yeah, I think people just have to figure out how their individual brain works and know how to navigate it. And for me, journaling helps with that a lot. If you know me, I talk about journaling quite a bit, and it's helped me in many ways. And actually, I think journaling is the reason why I stepped forward and decided to release my first album, because a lot of what I'm talking about today I found out through just journaling. So,
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
another
journaling, I
thing.
feel like it's a very expressive form of storytelling, except the storytelling is usually just for yourself. But oftentimes, like as a musician, I'm sure you've noticed this, where stories that you write or the things that you tell yourself in your journaling is often the things that you try to showcase through your music in some way or the other.
Wow. Yes, absolutely. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, in my journaling, I wanted to I was I would write talk about like I really just want to find something new and find my the thing that I want to do because right now I love so many things and I just want to find something new and through the music I think I was able to do that with my new album since I don't really know like I was saying I don't know what genre it is really. So,
Yeah,
um yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So thank you so much for coming on the show today. I had a great time chatting with you.
Thank you, Annika. This was so awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, listening to the episode. I will link Carter's Spotify so that you guys can check out his music. Be sure to support him on his journey, as we all know that he's going to do some awesome pieces and possibly even
Oh,
score
thank
some
you so
amazing
much.
films. So thank you again, Carter, and I hope you have an
Oh
awesome
yeah.
day.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
You too.